Now, I've always believed we spend our lives hunting ghosts, and they spend eternity hunting us. When I was 14, babysitting my little cousin, he swore there was a girl in a white gown on the second floor of my granny's house. There wasn't. But I stared at those stairs for hours anyway, hoping and dreading she'd show herself. One afternoon, he came downstairs shaking. "What does she look like?" I asked. "White," he whispered. My heart climbed into my throat. I walked up those creaking 90-year-old steps and yelled in every room, "Get out and leave my cousin alone." Nothing pushed me, no cold hand, just silence. I walked back down and I decided I'd won. Needless to say, I was always intrigued by the great beyond. Ghosts, whatever. But really, I was more fascinated with how films portrayed them. Movies were always over-sensationalized when it came to ghosts. And I realized that most people don't experience hauntings like The Shining or 1408 or even the movie Ghost. It's more of a boring experience, just orbs and lights that we can't make out with shaky cameras and bad actors. The only time I feel like I may have really experienced a paranormal event was when I was a kid. My granny lived in West Englewood, and I'm not sure if I was truly experiencing something, making up the fear in my mind, or just putting on a show for my cousin who claimed he was talking to a little white girl upstairs. It was also weird because my granny's house was built in 1910. So the fact that a little white girl might have lived upstairs was historically accurate. That scared the shit out of me. Many years later, I ended up living in that same space on the second floor, the one my cousin claimed the girl lived in. Like I literally lived up there. And with life and a little bit of furniture, that space wasn't so bad. I claimed it. I lived there for almost 2 years. Then in 2013, I lost my grandmother to an unknown ailment. She died right in the kitchen, and I found her body lifeless on the floor. After the funeral and after all the long distance family left, I was alone in that house most of the time. My uncle would come and go, but he didn't want to stay there either. The house was fucking creepy. Just creepy. I felt like the universe left me alone in that house for a reason. To confront this, whatever this was. Every night until I moved a few months later, I lived in fear. You always assume wherever you live, there's about a 200% chance someone has died there. You just assume it. Like, oh shit, this apartment was built in 1925. No way this place isn't haunted. But maybe that's just me. Now, Chicago is a beautiful city. Just like any other city, it has its quirks. We're home to deep dish pizza, Italian beef, dipped of course, Garrett's popcorn, and Malort. Some people even speak in a weird Chicago accent. I don't think I do. Do I? But then there's this crazy, unique underbelly, a seedy, secretive underbelly that isn't always addressed. And we're not talking about mobsters or prohibition. But remember the movie Pet Sematary when Judd says the ground is sour? I'm sure Chicago was built on sour ground. Like old buildings here don't just stand, they breathe. Maybe it's because I was raised here. Maybe because I allow my mind to give it life. But they breathe. I've always been fascinated by old structures, apartment buildings, hotels, theaters. Structures in Chicago make you wonder, what else has gone on in here? I don't feel like it's so much anywhere else in America. Maybe in the South, but I avoid that. I've only had that experience in a couple of other places, like in south of France, or Arles for the American, at the Les Cryptoportiques. It's this massive ancient Greek underground corridor right below the city hall, lit by man-made lighting, still pretty dark though. History says it was a storage for mercantile goods because it was cool and damp, but really it was the slave barracks. The air down there is thick, not menacing, just gloomy. Regardless of the darkness and the humidity, it feels as if people were down there. And if they were really, really sad. No happiness lived in that place. With that being said, one place that's always on the most haunted list is the Congress Plaza Hotel. I went to Columbia College in downtown Chicago. I remember walking down Michigan Avenue to class and passing the Congress Plaza Hotel, but I only knew it as the hotel with the never-ending strike. In 2003, Unite Here Local 1 went on strike to protest a wage cut. By the tail end, maybe 5 or 6 people were still marching outside its doors. It went on for years and ended in 2013. For the longest time, I never knew the hotel as anything other than a picket line. It wasn't until years later that an old friend told me about their experience there, and my antenna went up. Congress Plaza is apparently haunted? I used to have a really good friend who, like me, was obsessed with all things horror. One story they told me has never left me. At the time, I didn't know a thing about the place. They had checked in with their partner, nothing unusual, until the night unfolded. About walking up to the staff with a simple question only to be met with a blank, unblinking stare. No answer, just silence that hung too long, heavy enough to make the hair stand up on the back of their neck. Then there was the shower. Mid-rinse, the knob rattled. They talked about doorknobs rattling like someone was desperate to get in. Certain their partner was messing with them, they stormed out, only to find them sitting clear across the room, nowhere near the bathroom door. Now, this friend had nerves of steel when it came to paranormal. They laughed at the goriest of horror films. They shrugged off haunted houses. But that night at the Congress, it shook them. They told me they never felt fear settle that deep before, and the way they said it, I believed it. The next day at work, I talked to Sal, and we made a plan to stay at the hotel on Halloween night. That was 9 years ago. After many years of reading all the stories, we chickened out year after year, but my curiosity only grew. I had to experience this myself. I've never stayed at the Congress until now. Sip. Oh my God, did you miss me? No, you didn't. It's the 4th season. Could you believe it? It's the 4th season. It's episode 1. I swear to junk, I'm not God. Thank you for coming to the party. Before we get started, I wanted to say happy Halloween. This is going to drop on Halloween, the premiere episode of the 4th season. And I just want to thank you all, specifically all of you who have been sticking around for the past 3 years, riding through darkness with your girl, because it sucked. But thanks to all of the lovely guests I've had in the past 3 seasons, Kira, Lauren, Sal, Dustin, and Jeremy. And I hope to continue the podcast with you. To my listeners in a podcast space that's heavily saturated, I acknowledge that you have many choices. So thanks for choosing me. We've had drinks. You've heard me and my friends and family ramble through my episodes, good and bad. So welcome to season 4. Now, today's topic, as you know, is a special one. We're going to be talking about the history of the Congress Plaza Hotel in Chicago, Illinois, and some of the spooky happenings in the historic hotel. I'm recording this from 1408. I'm not in the hotel, and my guest today is Salvador.
What's up, guys? I'm back.
Sal, you know, thanks for coming back.
Of course, this is like something that I've been wanting to talked to you about for a very long time.
Yeah, 9 years. Yeah. 9 years.
Yep.
The poison on this episode is the penicillin. I don't know. I felt like that was appropriate for some reason. That's also been like my favorite like drink. It's lemon. It's a ginger lemon liqueur that you can actually buy on Amazon. Honestly, it's fire with whiskey. And you shake that in a cocktail shaker and you got yourself a penicillin. It's basically like a whiskey sour, but just add ginger. So it's phenomenal. It's not every hotel or restaurant.
We've been out places and you've ordered it and people don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, you can kind of go to hell, but okay.
But some people have though.
Yeah.
Some people have. They've been making it. They would make it for you. So.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. Now, as you all know, we're in the Congress Plaza at the present moment. And if the sound gets weird or anything gets weird, you just have to deal with it because this is where we are. And we're going to talk about the Congress Plaza. I'm going to focus on a little bit of the history. I'm going to talk about the ghosts. I'm going to talk about the people that died in this place.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Spooky shit.
And we're going to
I'm
start.
excited about it.
Look, I am too. Now, let's start from the beginning, though. And you're probably like, oh, bitch, you left for season 3 and then you only did 10 episodes. You're right. But I needed that time.
It's not like you can always... We work in television. It's not like you can always do a full season every fucking season.
Facts. Fuck that. Like sometimes you only
get a break, man.
Sometimes you only get an 8 episode pickup, and it is what it is. And that's what happened in season 3. But I'm back ish, and I at least know my first 13 episodes. Episode 2 is already done, so I'll be ready for that. And we're gonna continue like it's season 1 and 2. That's the best we can do.
Do it.
Everything sucks. No King's protest was today.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Nuts outside.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. Now, we could have done this episode anywhere. In Chicago, specifically the Resurrection Cemetery, the Biograph Theater, or the original Water Tower. But I wanted to do this here. One, because I'm fascinated by how little information there is out there about it. And 2, as I was researching this 9 years ago, I realized that, a lot of interesting things happened in this hotel, and a ton of interesting and spooky things happened in this hotel. Now, not to freak you out, but this hotel is number 2 on the Chicago Architecture Center's list of 5 haunted places in Chicago. Number 1 being Camp Douglas, which is a former prison camp for Confederate soldiers that housed 12,000 prisoners in 1862. Conditions were disgusting and thousands started to die off from malaria and smallpox. And then number 3 was the Biograph Theater. I don't know. Have you ever been there?
I've never been there.
Yeah, I like the Biograph. The alley is actually pretty haunted because that's where John Dillinger was shot, behind the Victory Gardens Biograph Theater.
Oh, I never knew that.
Yeah, for sure. That's where that movie Public Enemies with Johnny Depp.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Now, it was also on Time Out Chicago's 26 most haunted places in Chicago. And the City Pass site shows the Congress Plaza as being Chicago's most haunted hotel. So we're in some dangerous territory.
I keep trying to fucking conjure some shit up, and you're like,
shut up. Also, I just saw Paranormal Activity, so
you sure did.
Slightly a pussy. Plus, I also watched all the movies just yesterday. So
like, I don't want to.
I'm like,
no, thank you. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good. So let's talk about why. So the auditorium annex is what it used to be called, because it was intended to be an annex to the auditorium building across the street. And the auditorium building on the north side of Congress, which is now part of University of Chicago, in 1946, it was called Roosevelt College. It was considered to be the largest and most complicated building in 1887. The auditorium building was home to an auditorium, 130 offices, and 400-room hotel with a bar and restaurants. It was the idea of Ferdinand Peck, who wanted to build a permanent opera house, and the commission for the design went to Adler and Sullivan, which Doc Dankmar Adler, like the planetarium, and Louis Sullivan partnered in 1881. And Adler was known for his theater and auditoriums, so he was a master of acoustics. Sullivan was known for blending modern steel frame constructions with lush organic ornamentations. So their partnership produced some of Chicago's most iconic buildings, and many are gone, but they laid the groundwork for the Chicago School of Architecture and influenced Frank Lloyd Wright, who carried Sullivan's idea into the 20th century. Now, with the auditorium building, Adler handled the engineering, Sullivan handled the aesthetics. The auditorium annex was built by R.H. Southgate, a hotelier who was very elusive, apparently, because I scrubbed the internet and I even found an old letter from 1905 being sold on eBay. And the letterhead shows him as president. But if you Google him, he barely exists. Barely.
Oh, wow.
What I do know is he was a hotel developer who developed the original structure and the president of the Congress Hotel Association. The kind of sign of the times, honestly, having done an episode on H.H. Holmes in the same time period. At first, I thought there's the likelihood that this man didn't even exist because it could have been a pseudonym. He could have been the president of the hotel's company, but I believe that would be in a book somewhere.
Didn't find it.
They couldn't find it. But I got the feeling the person, at first I got the feeling that he didn't exist at all or is another person altogether. There's no mention of his background, his family, his upbringing, his career, his birth or death, and other buildings he developed, right?
So non-existent.
Nothing.
So he's just a name.
An enigma. Now, in the early 20th century, it wasn't uncommon for investors, corporations, or consortiums to put down a single figurehead name on the stationery. Now, what's also possible is that he just lost to history, as so many people are, because of poor record keeping. I was, though, able to find the Chicago Daily Tribune article from February 29, 1916, and the main headline reports that the Congress Plaza Corporation is suing the widow of its former president, Richard H. Southgate, for $231,000. So Southgate is accused of legally obtaining company stock and dominating the board. So he actually must exist. But alas, he wanted to open a hotel in time for the 1893 Columbian Exposition, a.k.a. Chicago's World's Fair. Now, Clinton J. Warren was said to be the architect and designed the North Tower, which was linked to the auditorium building via an underground marble-lined passageway called Peacock Alley. Previously a draftsman with Burnham and Root, he was only born in 1860 and came to Chicago in 1879 from Massachusetts. He stayed at Burnham and Root for 6 years before opening his own business in 1886. And by 1890, he wasn't a pup anymore. He was full grown. In addition to his work on the auditorium, he did the Lexington Hotel, the Metropole, the Hyde Park Hotel, the Virginia, the Virginia Hotel, and the Plaza Hotels. Now, the Columbian Exposition was held between May 1st and October 31st, 1893, to celebrate the 400th anniversary of Christopher Columbus's arrival to the New World. And that's another conversation for another day, because Columbus is a touchy subject. Held in Jackson Park, along the shores of Lake Michigan and on the south side of Chicago, the fair was supposed to showcase American architecture and industrial optimism. It hosted 27 million visitors. And fairs like this, similar to the Olympics, helped spotlight the city and gain tourist dollars. Now, the lead firm to construct the buildings was Burnham and Root. Planning the exhibition began in 1890, but by 1891, 40,000 laborers and workers were hired to construct the fair. The architects created lagoons and waterways that fed into the lake. There were 663 acres, and they had 14 main buildings, totaling 63 million square feet. After 3 years and $28 million, it opened on May 1st. 100,000 people showed up to the opening. So after the exposition, the auditorium went through 2 expansions and a name change. It started in 1902 and completed in 1907. The South Tower was finished, which is the tower we're in. The South Tower was finished by Halliburd and Roche. William Halliburd was from New York and studied at West Point, moved to Chicago. What you laughing at, Halliburd?
His name. I'm sorry. We're already drunk. Halliburd.
Halliburd.
Okay, sorry.
No, it's cool. He moved to Chicago and worked to establish the firm Halliburd and Simons. Is it Simons when it's 1M? Yes.
Simons.
Yeah.
Or it should be Simmons.
Because Simmons is 2 M's. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Ossian Cole Simons left the firm in 1883, 3 years after Martin Roche in 1881, and was to join his partner. That they went on to design the Chicago City Hall, the Tacoma Building, the Marquette Building, and the Palmer House. They would also design the pedestals to the Bowman and Spearman statues in the park on the east side of the Michigan Avenue, across from the now Congress Plaza Hotel.
That's across the street.
It sure is.
That's right across the street.
The hotel changed its name to the Congress Hotel in 1908. Now, the Bowman and Spearman, also known as the Equestrian Indians, were made in Zagreb, which is apparently Croatia, by a Croatian sculptor named Ivan Mastrovic, and installed at the entrance of the Parkway in 1928. The statues were originally placed to flank a grand staircase leading into the park, but the staircase was demolished in the 1940s to make for the extension of Congress Parkway. Now, if you notice, both statues are missing their weapons. This was actually by design, even though rumors have circulated that they were taken down after 9/11. The truth is apparently that they were never there, and the artist wanted the bodies of man and beast to be the central focus of the work, not the weapons.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay.
Now, you're probably asking, what does this have to do with Congress Plaza? Well, these 2 statues were ultimately built to commemorate the long, hard fight to keep Native American land from the Europeans. They don't seem to be directly related to the Battle of Fort Dearborn, but it's shockingly coincidental that they reside right across the street from the hotel. A connection? Well, Chicago was literally just a small frontier outpost back in the day. There was Fort Dearborn, and then there were just a few homes. So the land where the hotel was actually built, at one point, undeveloped prairie. That's all it was, along the lakefront, making the Chicago River and the lakefront a battlefield.
Yeah, I mean, for all those that do not realize where we actually live, it is Illinois.
It's Illinois.
The Illinois.
Prairie State.
The Illinois.
Yeah.
Were the Native Americans that were here. So.
Absolutely. So by the time the auditorium annex went up in 1893, that land had already seen bloodshed. Just about a mile from here, but back in 1812, the Battle of Fort Dearborn went down, and U.S. soldiers and colonizers were ambushed by the Potawatomi warriors, and the survivors ran south along the lakefront roughly to about 18th and Prairie, which is along the same stretch of ground this hotel looks out on today. The Potawatomi won that fight, captured survivors, burned the fort to the ground, but by the 1830s, they were forced out of Chicago altogether. So Fort Dearborn itself was rebuilt in 1816, but does the shadow of that day still hang over the city? It probably does. I think it's safe to say that the ground is sour. Fun fact, one of the stars on Chicago's flag also commemorates the fort's role in its permanent settlement of Chicago. Just so you know, the first star is Fort Dearborn. The second star represents the Great Chicago Fire. The third and fourth stand for the 2 World's Fairs that took place in Chicago. The 2 blue stripes are for our waterways, the Lake Michigan and Chicago River. And the white stripes represent the neighborhoods where people live all across the city, including north, south, and west sides, which only confirms that there is no fucking east side.
When people say that they're from East Chicago, I want to shit down my throat.
Here's the thing, though. I
hate you.
Well, when it comes to East Chicago...
East Chicago is Michigan.
Indiana.
Is Lake Michigan.
Yeah, and it's also Indiana. Like, if you live in East Chicago, it's Hammond. Like, that's... Like, people who live like Avenue A, B, Z, X, whatever, right? Like, that's Indiana to me. Like, no disrespect, but you've kind of gone so far south and so far that it's just like, you are no longer...
South, though. That don't make sense. Brittany, don't try to justify what people
But that
saying.
is considered East Chicago. My point in saying, though, is that there is no
city of East Chicago.
Sure. Yeah. But there's also like no East Side. Well, we say, and this is as a person who's coming from over West. I can't say out West because out West is the West Side. I'm not from the West Side. But if you are from the Southwest Side, and you're referring to anybody that lives east, which is east of the Dan Ryan Expressway, you would typically say that they're from over east. You do not say that they're from the east side. There is no fucking east side.
Right.
You're from over east. Over east basically are like those little streets, cottage, you know, basically anything past the Dan Ryan up to the lake is over east. Then they started doing like this shit downtown where they're like, oh, this is the new East Side. Like, we're not New York. Don't do that.
The new East Side is like, it's like literally like two streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's two streets and then the lake.
It's almost like a fucking island. Like, it's just not the same.
It doesn't exist.
So
guys.
there is no East Side. There is the North Side. There is the South Side. And there's a West Side. You live on the East Side. I'm going to assume you live in the lake. And
this is what I'm saying.
And as a person who is literally a block away from the lake,
me too.
I still don't honor no over east. I don't even honor over east. Like, I live in the South Loop. Like, what the fuck you mean? This is technically south of, you know, Madison. So no, okay. So the flag confirms there are three sides. All right.
Correct.
Now back to the hotel. By the 1910s, okay, references to both name overlap in newspapers. So there's the Auditorium Annex, which is the Congress Hotel Association, which is where we are. It appears often. By the 1920s, the branding Congress Hotel became dominant. So the name came from, you know, its address, which is along Congress Parkway, now Ida B. Wells Drive. The hotel was called the home of the presidents because so many presidents stayed here. So many. Theodore Roosevelt's 1912 break from the GOP unfolded in Chicago that summer in this hotel. From the 1920s onward, the Congress Hotel or Congress Plaza Hotel was the consistent name, even as ownership and management changed hands. So the hotel at one point, the home of the NBC radio show, Benny Goodman. It was purchased. What? Yes, it was purchased by the government as a training school for the U.S. Army Air Forces in WW2, and it reopened in 1944. Now, in 1950, it was renovated again to add suites, new restaurants. Then in the 1960s, they added a ballroom, some escalators. But unfortunately, today, the hotel is run down, as we can see, and cheap for the location, which this single night was not fucking cheap. I cannot stress that enough.
Rundown, I agree with.
Now, the lobby and historical areas seem to be well maintained, but the hotel is definitely not what it used to be. I mean, as we saw, as we were just traipsing through this hotel, there are no consistent doors. Like, all the doors are different. I mean, there you will see the same style of door, and then all of a sudden there'll be a random door.
Okay, so everyone, in our hallway, all of the doors were white, like painted white.
Yep, except one door.
Except for one door.
Yeah,
that was it red?
It was like a cherry wood,
a cherry red original door.
Yep.
And it was all by itself.
And I'm like, why didn't you just paint this door?
The one door. It's like the only one door.
Or like when we went to the stairway and we were, first of all, I would also like to say that there are no secure locations in this building.
No.
Everything's fucking unlocked. You can open a random utility closet between.
I was opening shit like no other. I was like, oh, this latch looks
You're
open.
like, what
clack,
is this?
Clack, click, boonk, open it up.
We're on the top floor of the South Tower, and we literally have access to the roof. It was raining. It was dripping.
Dripping on me.
Yeah. It is. Needless to say, this hotel desperately needs work. I wish somebody who actually had money gave a fuck and would restore this hotel to its former glory. One, because it is a labyrinth. This place is fucking huge. I haven't even been to the North Tower, but I will tell you, the South Tower alone, it's like fucking Twilight Zone. You're just going in a circle until you find the next elevator. Like, it is big.
LOST. I was fucking just walking around. I was following Brittany. I was like, where the fuck are we going? She's like, don't worry. And mind you, it was a door.
Yeah.
Between.
Yeah.
Doors. It was like weird. It's odd to describe.
It's odd to describe, but the only way I can describe it is kind of like Kira's apartment in Hyde Park. Kira had this apartment on Kimbark in Hyde Park that used to have like these small, I assume they were dumbwaiters in between each apartment. I mean, because it was also built during the Columbian Exposition. Excuse me, I belched. But it was also during the Columbian Exposition. And it was during a time where a lot of those places were considered apartment hotels. Like, they were places built specifically for workers for the exposition.
Like the long-term, as we call them today.
Apartments.
Extended
hotels.
stays.
Yeah.
Extended stays.
And they used to have a kitchen. They would have whatever, and they would put the meals through this little door.
The slots.
Yep.
You told me. I
kind
think
of like a prison.
Kind of. You'd be like, clack, clack, clack. Dinner. Ciao.
Dinner is served. But
Ciao
so
time.
Kira's was like that. But in this one, this is more of like a full door. It's just very narrow. Like a door, it looks like a utility closet. They have knobs, but they're locked. And they are kind of flush with the paint, so they almost look like secret doors. Like if you were to have like a Murphy door to a bar or a bed or some shit. And they're pretty much in every hallway. Like, we went down to the fifth floor. The fifth floor is not as decadent in the halls as ours is, but it's still there. They put them in every. So my guess is that each room has its own utility shed, which is, I mean, I don't know if it controls like the air, the heat, the plumbing or what. That's my guess, because there's no other functional reason for that to be so consistent down the halls.
Yeah, so many doors in a hallway that are not an actual door to a room.
Yeah.
Is so weird.
It's weird. It's weird as shit.
It's so weird.
Now, again, the hotel, the lobby is still pretty cool.
Yeah. I took a couple pictures
we just left the bar. The bar is very like where everybody knows your name.
Yes, very, very open.
It's giving cool. Cheers.
Chill.
But you can see where
you had to sing it.
But you can see that, whoever owns this place doesn't give a fuck about this place in a real way. If you're interested in coming here for Halloween, the hotel hosts the Halloween bar the Halloween ball every year. And since 2015, they hosted the International Mr. Leather, a multi-day convention and a competition celebrating the leather, kink, fetish, and BDSM communities for Memorial Day weekend, which draws thousands around the world. Now, let me give you a layout. So the Congress is basically divided into two massive towers, the North and South Towers, with three ornate ballrooms. There was the lobby, the guest rooms, the dining rooms, the hotel/bar, the elevators, the Pompian room, which is a grand banquet hall. It's kind of like a Greco-Roman design, which used to be where they would have dances, performances, and large events. There's the Florentine Room, which is another ornate ballroom. There's the Florentine Ballroom balcony. There's the Gold Room, which is a historic banquet/meeting hall, also used for weddings and big social functions. The Auditorium Theater and the /auditorium building, which is connected. That's the original structure by Adler and Sullivan, which is tied to the annex technically, and connected by Peacock Alley, which is a long ornate corridor linking the hotel to the auditorium building across the street. So the North Tower, the South Tower, where most of the rooms still operate to this day. So I don't know if the North Tower is completely functional. The secret passages and abandoned rooms, which are parts of the 3rd, 4th, and 12th floors, are said to be sealed off or rarely used. The game room, which apparently there's a game room that you can go through a closet. I don't even know.
An actual game room? Like where you can play like...
I'm thinking it's more like a speakeasy, like you can go through a closet. Now, there are the basement tunnels, the maintenance and service tunnels under the hotel, the boiler rooms, and the storage. And as we've witnessed, there's full access to the roof.
Full access to the roof. And then when we were walking downstairs, do you remember we were like the banquet rooms and all the other stuff were just open.
And I think
you could just walk in.
It makes me wonder if they know that most people have, I mean, that's probably what's keeping this hotel afloat. Other than the location itself, it's access to downtown Chicago, and it's off Lakeshore Drive. It's off Congress Plaza, which is a direct route to the expressway. It's usually moderately priced. I think that they know that the allure of this hotel is also the lore.
Yeah, that's the lure is the lure.
The lure is the lure. I think they understand that people want to walk around this place and open random fucking doors and see what is going on.
Explore.
Because some places in a normal hotel, some of the areas that even in the 15 minutes we were walking around before we went to the fucking bar, would ordinarily in a normal hotel be chained off, roped off,
shut down.
I mean, locked.
Just locked.
Just locked.
I mean, if there is not a function going on in that fucking room we walked into,
it should have been locked.
You walk in there, it looks like you're in an episode of fucking some haunted shit.
The Shining.
The Shining. And then you turn to the left and I said, why are those lights on?
Yeah.
Inside of the conference room, way in the back.
Yep.
So why are those lights on? But like this ballroom is totally fucking shut down.
Yeah.
And then when I turned on my light, I was like, if I see some shit in here, I'm fucking out of here. And then we just walked out and
nothing.
Doors closed and we were
in the hallway. It is what it is. And I mean, and that's the thing, like the place, I cannot express enough when they call this place a plaza. It fucking is a plaza. It really is. It's huge.
It's so nuts. And everything is in a circle.
Everything's in a circle. I mean, and we did not explore the North Tower. We were not yet.
We're gonna go.
We gotta go
after this.
So this is what do we know? What do we know? What do visitors and even staff claim to see or experience while they're in this hotel? So just objects moving, furniture, luggage reported shifting on their own, doors opening and closing, even locked or unused rooms, phones ringing from rooms that aren't connected or are supposed to be vacant, lights flickering, which the lights have been flickering the entire fucking time we've been in this room.
Yeah, this is either faulty electrical situation
or this place is haunted as shit. Because I'm gonna tell you, if the way these lights flicker, I'm like, this shit gonna burn down any day.
Seriously, I'm just saying faulty. It's so faulty.
TVs turning on by themselves. Staff mentioned lights flickering on by themselves or flicking on, which is different than flickering. The bitches just turn on by themselves. Guests describe sudden cold drafts in hallways and the Gold Room, the old Grand Ballroom, and the South Tower of the building, and the Florentine Room. Investigators say sudden icy drafts are common in the room, even when vents are off. A heavy, oppressive, watched feeling, especially on upper floors and in unused spaces. Phantom gatherings in the floor.
What does that mean?
In the Florentine room, people claim to hear faint music, laughter, wooden skate wheels on the floor because the space used to be used for a roller rink during the exhibition.
Holy shit.
So the sound of parties long after the room is empty, like echoes of grand events that once filled it. Several visitors report seeing dark figures move across the floor or near the walls when the room is dark and supposedly locked. Now, there's also phantom piano music in the gold room. There's creaking floorboards in the Florentine room, children laughing or crying in empty hallways, whispers through walls and vents, knocking on the hotel doors out of nowhere, and there's a moaning phantom that haunts the elevator on the 5th floor.
We took the 5th floor.
I went there in I wasn't going to.
Shit balls. Just before we got off, it was like super creepy and like
that floor is fucked up.
The lighting sucked.
Yeah, it's like a medical office.
I didn't know there was stuff on the 5th floor though. I thought you just
it's kind of given like, oh, I'm about to get a speculum inserted into my vagina.
Yeah,
it's giving clinical
surgical situation. Yeah.
Now, the overall vibe visitors describe is that the whole building feels charged, not just one haunted room, but a lingering energy in the walls. The most unsettling locations are said to be the 4th floor, the 12th floor, and the Florentine room. Now, I have many stories of the past, but let's start with recent history. Okay. In 2016, I found an article about My Kitchen Rules, which is an Australian cooking show in 2014. An Australian celebrity chef by the name of Pete Evans, who posted on his Facebook, he said that his stay at the Congress was one of the weirdest experiences in his life. Quote, "It suddenly felt eerily cold, and I sensed that something just wasn't right with the energy, not only in the hallway, but even more so once I was inside my room. I tried to shake it off and tell myself it was all in my head, but the extremely uneasy feeling didn't go away. If anything, it became more intense, so I grabbed my bags and pretty much ran out. I bypassed checkout, jumped straight in a cab, and got the fuck out of there. There's no doubt in my mind that what I felt was real, but each to their own."
Wow. And that was like, what?
2014 when he posted it, and 2016 when I found it. Wow. So Evans was on the 4th floor. He was in room 441. Now, guests report seeing translucent woman at the foot of their bed and blankets ripped off, knocks on the walls. I did find another story from 2016. It was a blog post from rent.com. I'll call her JB. JB and her family checked into the Congress Plaza Hotel on a December weekend. The front door clerk smiled, upgraded their room for free, and then, almost as an afterthought, joked, "If these walls could talk, I'd be running." Now, JB laughed. She laughed it off. And at first, everything seemed fine. But when they returned to the room that evening, the air was icy fucking cold. A sharp contrast to the heat when they'd first arrived. And while waiting for pizza, their dead bolted door creaked open, then slowly shut. Now, her husband checked the hall. There was no one. They brushed it off. And later, the family heard voices outside, laughter, men talking in formal tones like something out of another century. And when JB peered through the peephole, the hallway was empty. But the near closet, I'm sorry. But the voices drifted and faded away. So as she tried to relax, a black smoke cloud appeared near the closet, stretching into the shape of a tall, thin man.
No.
JB closed her eyes, pretending not to see it. Moments later, her son bolted upright in bed and stared into the same corner. By 2 a.m., she couldn't sleep. Then it happened again. The locked door flew open and someone knocked 4 times.
Wait, the door opened and then they knocked?
Yeah.
That's backwards.
She screamed for her husband, who jumped up and yanked the door wide. The hallway was silent, empty, shaken, They went to the lobby to report it. The staff apologized, offered another room, but as they spoke, they watched another man run out the hotel with his luggage shouting, "This place is haunted. I'm getting the hell out of here."
Oh, shit.
Now, JB didn't sleep that night. She stayed up until morning, rattled but strangely hooked. And terrified as she was, she knew she wanted to come back and dig into what happened at the hotel.
Oh, no.
She's just as crazy as we are.
Yep. I'm just like, what? We're talking about this as we're
like,
sitting
what an idiot.
inside of a fucking room. Okay.
Now, a poster on Reddit in 2022 claimed to have a vivid dream of elementary-aged kids lined up in the hallway in the 1930s. They were in 1930s, 40s clothes. And when she fell asleep, they had a dream of a woman in a black and white dress standing at the foot of a friend's bed. Another poster claimed, "I stayed in room 413. So this is the fourth floor again.
Oh, no.
It was a pretty standard bedroom with a window and a small fridge. I was out for most of the day, but when I came back at night to sleep, things got weird. I was laying down when I felt something messing with my hair. I wasn't fully awake, but thought little of it since it was cold and I had the heater on. But I noticed that my bathroom door was wide open. It was a bit scary since I was the only one there, but didn't think much and went to shut it. As I went to shut it, I heard something say, 'Hello.' I stopped and turned on all of the lights and left immediately. It could have been something I heard in my sleep, but it was vocal enough to scare the pants off of me."
Damn.
Now, another poster claimed, paraphrasing, quote, not quote, but paraphrasing, "I kept getting an uneasy, watched feeling. I plugged a small fan in the bathroom, and as I was drifting off, heard a crash. The fan had been unplugged and was sitting in the shower, 7 feet from the counter where I'd left it. After that, I couldn't sleep. I watched the lamp cord sway by itself. The closet door kept opening after I shut it, and I heard muffled voices from both sides of the room in the middle of the night. Worst of all, a violent, intrusive thought about a famed Congress haunting, a mother throwing her children from a window, popped into my head. I was on the 11th floor. That terrified me. I packed up and left at 3 a.m. Told the front desk I couldn't stay because things were moving in my room, and the clerk responded with what felt like resigned indifference. I drove 3 hours home, and I missed my race." She had a race, a marathon.
Dude.
A former employee also stated that every time he walked in, there was a strong feeling that he was being watched. The floorboards were super creaky, and there were moments where I could have sworn there was creaking on the opposite side of the room from me, but it was probably just my mind playing tricks. Now, in addition to the ground being sour, the hotel had seen its fair share of death, murders, and suicides. Historically, people died younger and were more ill than we are now, but it seems that a lot of people died of heart attacks, ailments, scared to death by something, or a sign of the times. I don't fucking know. But heart attacks are also contributed to fear. Overwhelming experiences of fear. Now, I acknowledge that over a long span of time and after millions of patrons, every hotel will have its fair share of folklore. But the bigger question is, why are some hotels more haunted than others? The Congress/Annex has hosted decades of deaths, suicides, murders, accidents, fires, and mysterious disappearances. And I can count at least 40 in major incidents documented in just the Chicago Tribune between 1890s and the 1950s. Compare that to other hotels where you might find a handful of deaths over the same span, but the accumulation itself can become legend. So before we dive into some of the historical deaths, let's talk about what we know isn't true. Al Capone lived here. He did not. At least not on record. He operated out of the hotel. Capone did use various Chicago hotels. I personally know that he operated in the Metropole Hotel, the Lexington Hotel, and a hotel that's out on in the west suburbs where he did most of his dirt. he used various hotels, but there's no solid record he ever kept an office, apartment, or permanent connection to the Congress. Now, he was also a criminal. Maybe he didn't have a record, but I find it very interesting that we know of all these other hotels that he's operated in,
right?
And this isn't one of them.
So there's no record of him actually staying here, though.
No,
he's never stayed here.
Not that's like recorded. Now he's had associates stay here. The haunting stories are modern folklore. Capone's ghost always gets attached to nearly every old Chicago building. I think it's time to let that man motherfucking rest.
Rest in peace.
I will say what I found that was interesting, which was that Jake Greasy Thumb Guzik apparently called Al Capone from the hotel before and after the St. Valentine's Day massacre. He was Al Capone's accountant. If the websites are correct, he allegedly died down the street from my old apartment. He lived at 5492 Everett Avenue in Hyde Park. I used to live at 5500 South Everett. His name was Jack Arnold at the time, and that's where they say he died. Then there's Peg Leg Johnny. A one-leg hobo who they say was murdered in the basement. His spirit now haunts the halls. No historical record confirms such a person or murder ever happened at the Congress. Peg Leg Johnny appears to be a ghost tour invention, a kind of stock character in hauntings, but Chicago did have a real one-leg killer clown, though.
Oh.
I personally think if it does exist, that it's possibly Charles Kramer, a.k.a. Conway, circus clown, who killed Sophia Singer with his wife, Lillian Beatrice Ryall Conway. Charles got a life sentence, but his wife only got 14 years. He had a peg leg below the knee from an accident and refused to get proper aesthetic. But there's no actual connection between Kramer and the Congress Plaza. That part is my speculation, but it is a creative link. I found numerous articles in the archive about this trial, though. The story basically goes like this. Charles Kramer was a circus clown who lost his leg in an accident and refused to wear a proper prosthetic. He was stomping around instead on a crude wooden leg. In 1912, he and his wife Lillian, she was a lion tamer, okay?
Wow.
She took in a wealthy young woman named Sophia Singer, an heiress from Baltimore who came to Chicago with her fiance, Will Worthen. They lived under the same roof on 2900 South Indiana Avenue. Now, Singer no longer wanted to be in Chicago and thought it was time to go back to Baltimore. So tensions got high, and Worthen later said it's crazy because they seem to like hate us all at once. He was like, it just came the fuck out of nowhere. Money got tight. And one October day, Singer was found dead in her room. She was strangled with a handkerchief, her hands bound with a clothesline, and her jewelry was missing. Now, suspicion fell immediately on the Conways, because that's who the fuck she was living with. And they quickly confessed that after being caught in Ohio, that it was self-defense. After Singer suggested Mrs. Kramer try prostitution for money. Now, at trial, Kramer was convicted of murder and sentenced to life. When asked by a reporter how he hurt his foot, Kramer said a steamboat ran over it. A joker to the end.
Oh my God. They
would both eventually recant their confessions and claim that the police coerced them, and the jury found Kramer guilty and Lillian was his accomplice. So Lillian received a lighter sentence. And here's where the legend kind of gets weird. In 1925, Charles Kramer escaped from Joliet Penitentiary. How the fuck do you lose a peg leg? How do you lose?
You lose it in a poker. You lose in a poker game.
Clearly.
I guess. I don't know.
The one-leg clown vanished into history. He last appeared in the news in 1932 when his mother tried to get the judge to declare him dead so that she can collect his life insurance money. So if anybody is stomping around at Congress Plaza with a peg leg, maybe it's him.
Hilarious.
Now, another one is the hand of mystery. A construction worker named Drywall Dave was accidentally sealed in the walls, and his hand still juts out from the plaster. Now, researchers and building historians say no such death was recorded during construction or later renovations, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not true. But the hand is either an urban legend or at most misplaced glove by construction. The storytellers spun the horror, though, because Adam Selzer, the Chicago crime ghost historian and tour guide, said, quote, "This one is my fault. It started out as a joke, then snowballed. No evidence that anyone was ever walled up inside the place, and the wall in question isn't nearly thick enough. The hole in the wall where it resides is not typically available to the public and may not be entirely safe. I've only been in this place where you can see it a handful of times. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's probably wide the fuck open because everything in this place is wide the fuck open, like a hooker's legs.
I don't understand why everything's so open. You know, that corridor where you said that it's the stairwell. Mm-hmm. Remember we walked back there, we opened the door and we walked back there. There's no stairwell.
Right.
And then another floor, when we went to the 5th floor, it was the same side. And on the top it said fire escape.
Yeah.
And we went back there and it was obviously no stairwell.
Right.
And then I opened the window. So the window
you
actually
did. The
opens.
window's open back there.
The window actually opens. So if you need to get out through that fire escape, yes, you can get out.
But you can't get out in this this room, which has a fucking fire escape.
This fucking room is sealed off.
You know why, though? And I don't know the Chicago law of fire escapes at this point, but I can imagine, this is what I do know is possible. Some asshole will come here drunk and decide, I'm going to take a smoke. And they're going to sit out on that fire escape. Mm-hmm. And the hotel is not trying to be liable because your dumb ass fell trying to
fall
smoke.
Over the fucking...
Mm-hmm. Or being funny, you do something stupid and you die. Mm-hmm. They're not trying to be liable for that. So they're locking these windows.
I get it.
But with that being said, you should probably lock these fucking doors because the fact that you can gain access to the roof... Mm-hmm. What?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, room 441 is supposed to be a hot spot. Room 441 is the most haunted in the hotel, apparently, with countless ghost sightings and police security calls. And while guests have reported odd experiences, there's no official hotel log or police record confirming disproportionate disturbances in the room. Paranormal Tours promoted 441 as the focus because it made a good story.
So it's made up.
Yeah. And the legend snowball. So not to say that no room in here is notoriously haunted. It's just that according to security, the haunted room had been sealed off permanently. Really, that room was 666. That's now an office.
But it's not sealed off anymore. It's still an office. It's actually...
Apparently, yeah. I was like, there's no way I'm about to do any paperwork in a room that's called 666. The fuck you mean?
I remember a long time ago, you had told me about, like, there was a room that was here that was latched.
Yeah.
But mind you, the doors that, remember I saw, that looked like there was a latch that was taken off of the door? Why would you have locks closed?
Lock from the outside?
From the outside.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I can't make that make sense. The only thing I can think of is like maybe that little thing was a bell. You know how you go to certain hotels that have that big circular thing in the middle and you can kind of like pull it? Mm-mm. Have you ever been to those?
No, not recently.
Not this century, actually.
Not in this lifetime, but I probably have.
It's a fancy fucking door. It's like a big door. It's got a recessed, like kind of like circle in the middle, and then you can kind of like pull the bell, and it goes kind of like a bell.
But this was like on the side.
That's what I'm saying that
Maybe.
I'm wondering if at some point that was a bell.
That was connected to the thing.
Yeah, like maybe it was a way, because I can't imagine that these doors locked from the outside. That is a fire hazard out of this fucking world. There's no reason.
Means that you were locking something in.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You were locking something in or not allowing an outsider to come in. Freely,
either way, you locked the
freely.
fuck in. Like, I could have locked the door from the inside and locked you out. I don't need you to manage the lock from the outside. That's crazy.
It's nuts. I wish we could actually show pictures on.
Yeah, I know.
Shit that I've seen. I'm like, this is nuts.
This is dumb. Now, the movie 1408 is based off the Congress. That's not true. Ursula Belsky cooked that up in one of her books. She wrote that some researchers had come to the conclusion that King used the hotel as inspiration, but she never actually said who those researchers were and how they supposedly arrived at that conclusion. But King himself never mentions the Congress in his intro to 1408. He just explains that it was his crack at the classic haunted hotel trope, and he feels that every horror writer should do it at some point. That's pretty much it.
Stephen King.
Exactly. Now, Adam Selzer worked for Belsky and called her out on it. She just shrugged and said, well, it makes a good story. She's also a Trump supporter, so who gives a fuck?
Oh, Jesus.
Now that we got that out the way, some of the stories are ghost tour fluff. We know that to be true. But the truth is darker, stranger, and very real. So let's talk about what did happen. I found articles on deaths, illnesses, and murders, and there have been numerous accidents and heinous crimes committed by people. Now, in the beginning, there were small, petty things, like in 1895, the opera diva Nellie Melba had her room ransacked, and her jewels were only saved because she locked them in the annex vault. It's interesting what they chose to put in the paper, because I'm like, this is interesting. But Madame Melba, who was in Chicago when her room was robbed, they got about $100 from her purse. And she was smart enough to put her jewels in a safe because she had heard about the robberies in the paper. So, hey, bitches, Chicago has always been fucked up, even when there were no black people and Mexicans.
Oh, shit.
Now, she also heard a passerby being robbed below her window. So she was like, yeah, nah, I'm going to put this in a vault.
Damn.
The hotel clerk, armed only with a fountain pen,
Excuse me?
prevented a, quote, deranged individual from seeing opera singer Madame Melba, the stranger who claimed God sent him and wanted to make Melba the greatest woman in the world. He's a stan. He was eventually removed from the hotel by a porter, and he was chased off the block by a cabman. But the police increased suspicion for long-haired individuals. So if you had long hair, you were in trouble.
Oh, like a drag queen?
Something very benign was Mike. He was considered the terror of Michigan Avenue. He was a cat. That was in the paper. The Chicago Daily Tribune article of June 22nd, 1896 report the death of Mike. He was an auditorium hotel cat. He was known for his fierce demeanor and hatred of dogs. Mike, who had the reputation for attacking dogs regardless of their size or breed, he died after falling down an elevator shaft. R.I.P. to Mike the cat. The article recounts.
Are you we're talking about like a CAT?
Cat.
I
Meow.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if we were seriously talking about a cat or like you were like, he was like the cool cat. You know what I'm saying?
He was a smooth cat.
He was a smooth cat. And he like wandered alleyways.
I was talking about whiskers.
When you started talking about dogs and hated dogs, I was like, wait a minute. Hold the phone. This cat.
Wait, so the article recounts several of Mike's. Why did you name a cat Mike?
Why did you name a cat Mike?
Notable encounters, including a chase involving involving Olga Nethersalt's collie and his relentless pursuit of Madame Melba's poodle. It also mentions his persistence in becoming a permanent resident of the hotel after being thrown out 45 times in his first week. Mike had several offspring living at the hotel.
Shoot.
Though most lacked his distinctive traits, with one exception that chewed the eyes out of a stuffed dog. So he had one reckless
Stray cat strut.
The shit they would put in the fucking paper.
Stray cat style was what I said.
Yeah. A year later, a circus manager by the name of Merritt Young, his name was Merritt Francisco Young. He was the general manager of Barnum and Bailey Circus. He died at the Auditorium Annex at the age of 48 due to typhoid fever, which is very complex. It's common for people to go to a hotel to die in those days when they have fevers and shit, which I think is very interesting. But they said it was complicated by the intense heat. Young had been ill for 10 days and was moved from his private car to the hotel where he eventually died. In 1898 came the first suicide on record, a man believed to be W.E. Straw. He shot himself in his room. W.E. Straw of the West Branch in Iowa committed suicide at the Congress Plaza by shooting himself in the head. He was found on the bed with a revolver in his hand by guests who heard the shot. And Straw later died at St. Luke's Hospital while surgeons were examining his wound. He had entered the hotel shortly before with a young woman named Pearl Brown, whom he met in a saloon, and she had left the room on an errand when the suicide occurred and was put under arrest at the Harrison Street station, pending questioning. Now, letters from his brothers and sisters in West Branch, Iowa, and a stockman's pass were found, indicating he came to Chicago around December 10th under another name. He was seeking employment and had been offered a book sales agency in his native county by the American Publishing Company. But Straw was described as neatly dressed and appeared to be 26, which is very young to decide to off yourself. Mm-hmm. Now, at this point, the hotel is barely a decade old. This is just like not even that big a deal. But by 1899, John T. Shane, a prominent Chicago furrier and former president of the Chicago Commercial Association, was shot and seriously wounded by Harry H. Hammond, a merchant tailor in the Auditorium Annex Cafe. Shane was at a luncheon with Mrs. Hammond and Harry Hammond's divorced wife and two other women when the attack occurred, and Harry Hammond, who did not attempt to escape, was taken into custody. Shane was struck by 2 bullets and is in critical condition, with doctors expressing concern about potential blood poisoning. The shooting caused panic among the cafe guests, and witnesses describe Hammond's deliberate actions, firing additional shots at Shane while he was hiding under a table, which is like, wow, those are mob tactics. Mm-hmm. The article reveals that Mrs. Hammond divorced Harry Hammond in November 1898 on the grounds of habitual drunkenness.
Habitual drunkenness.
He was an alcoholic.
AKA, yes.
Yeah, he used to get litty. Mr. Shane and Mrs. Hammond recently became engaged after meeting at a funeral of Shane's late wife 2 years prior. They had attempted to obtain a marriage license quietly in Arkansas, but were unsuccessful. It's interesting how many of these were like woman related. In 1900, Captain Lewis.
It's always sex or money.
It's facts. Captain Louis Ostheim was 38. He killed himself in his room the night before his wedding, which I'm like, goddamn. He was a Spanish-American war veteran with insomnia and night terrors. He woke up from a nightmare and killed himself. He was supposed to be married the next day to Eva Bruce Wood. He was found dead in his room at the Auditorium Annex with a bullet wound to his right temple and a new revolver under his body. He had just arrived in Chicago a week prior for his wedding and seemed in good health, though his fiance's uncle, Walter B. Pfister, suggests that Captain Ostheim had been suffering from insomnia and bad dreams. And part of me, I'm just going to say this too. Lead.
Yeah.
Chemicals.
Lead paint, chemical delusions. Yes.
Carbon monoxide, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
We could have a lot of moving factors here that could make a motherfucker, especially so early in the game when so many people are like there are no environmental regulations, there are no building regulations, codes.
There's no real codes.
You know, motherfuckers are just kind of like doing whatever they do. They're like, okay, we built the building, cut a whole building painted in lead paint.
Open the bitch up so we can make some money. That's what they really wanted to do.
Basically, not to mention the speedy attempt to build a whole city after a fire just for the Columbian Exposition. Mm-hmm. How many costs did you cut?
Well, the corners cuts,
yeah,
not just the cost. Yeah, like of course there were costs, but like I'm saying, like safety.
Yeah, safety. I mean, but corners. I'm not even gonna say safety because then that also means that you would have had a certain level of knowledge of what's safe to use and what isn't, and. Don't think these motherfuckers. We did
say like these buildings are still standing.
They are still standing.
So there was some structural integrity to what was built here, but it was still
this bitch hasn't collapsed.
Built in a way of like.
But it's probably loaded in some shit. Yeah.
Still gonna kill you.
Yeah. So when I was reading these and you hear about these people just like randomly doing shit or randomly waking up and offing themselves or like randomly doing whatever, I'm like, were you living in here? Because if you had been here, you've been here for a couple of days and you already got some shit going on in your head and you all of a sudden just start hallucinating.
Like you fucking woke up from the dead sleeping, you're like, I gotta die. I'm dead. I'm done.
It's time.
I'm so done.
It's time.
Why the fuck? You gotta like maybe revisit this. Like, why did people go to hotels to die?
Well, I mean,
the luxury of it.
I think it's the separation and the catering.
The luxury,
yeah,
like being
you know, you got a maid who can get you exactly like you got a maid that can give you food. You got a turn down service that's about to change your linens and make sure that you got what you need.
So it's almost like you were paying for
it. Was hospice,
first hospice.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I was researching Bill Thompson, he died in the Blackstone down the street.
Oh, you told me about
that. And he was in one of those, like his bed was encased in one of those like tent things,
a net.
I think he had the flu, so maybe it was a net because I think they did that. But I don't know if they had plastic, but
I don't think it would have been a plastic situation.
Yeah, he was covered in one of those things until he died, and I'm kind of like, oh, okay, so just coughing through the vents, but got you.
They didn't know. They don't know yet. They didn't know that yet.
Exactly. Now, it is believed that Captain Ostheim he haunts the Florentine room. That's what is believed. A guy named Frank H. Peavy, he dies here of pneumonia. That's another sickness. Herman E. Benedict, who registered from Rochester, New York, he was found dead in his room as well. Police determined his death was suicide, another suicide. And evidence found in his room, he was in Chicago for business. He had $8,000 in a life insurance policy, but no money was found on him or in his room, leading police to consider financial difficulties as a possible motive. And he had complained of being ill in the days leading up to his death. It's also fascinating how many people killed themselves because they ran out of money.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like something that is...
it's not my immediate response.
Yeah, that wouldn't be something that I would do if I ran out of money. But also, back in the day, that's really all you had.
Yeah, I mean, but also...
Your societal position...
Yeah, was what mattered.
Was money.
Yeah, that was currency.
And where you were, it was currency. And if you didn't have it, you were nowhere.
Yeah.
So why should you exist? I guess that's the whole point of them offing themselves. I don't know, but I would assume that is...
It's crazy because to book a hotel room and shoot yourself in it, or to book a hotel room and jump out of the window is crazy. George A. McKay, he was an heir of the Munger estate. He reportedly was worth $2 million, which is about 70 to 75 million now. He committed suicide by shooting himself in the head here. McKay was a bachelor. He formerly lived in Chicago but resided in New York and was found in a sitting posture in an armchair with a revolver nearby. He was last seen alive at 9 a.m. when he left his room and met a friend, and he had an appointment at 10 a.m. with the personal agent to look over business details related to the Munger estate. But when McKay failed to show up, that's when people were concerned. And after repeated attempts to reach him, they forced open the door at 9 p.m. and they discovered his body. So there's another suicide. Now, A.J. Bernstein, he was an elevator operator at the Auditorium Annex. He died after falling 70 feet down the elevator shaft. Bernstein, I think that's how you pronounce it, was attempting to adjust the elevator machinery after it stopped 4 feet above the 4th floor. It's always between 4 and 5. He fell while trying to re-enter the car and died en route to the hospital. So, yeah. Now, 1906, banker J.W. Webster claimed he fired his gun in his sleep.
So it's like a nighttime shooting?
He accidentally shot himself in the head during a vivid nightmare.
Well, if you sleep too close to your gun, maybe that'll happen. But I don't know. Maybe that's a little.
And the reporting said that he was dreaming about robbers because he was made nervous because he's a banker, and recent bank robberies had kind of freaked him out. So I guess it was like in Inception, when you kick out of your dream, you just grab your gun and just shoot yourself in the head. I'm the robber. Like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
This is why not everybody need no motherfucking gun. I'm just saying. Now, the hotel's own florist also died by suicide in the shop. His name was Philip J. Houseworth. He was an owner of a flower store in the Auditorium Annex. Houseworth shot himself over the heart, which I'm like, wow. His body was discovered by an employee. Yeah. Like, why do you shoot yourself in the chest? That was common, actually.
How? You were a florist. What the fuck is wrong with your life? You literally make people happy. And you put things together.
Bouquets.
So you're sad.
Yeah.
He's got an internal sadness.
Well, he left a suicide note, but it didn't quite reveal a motive. But they did believe at the inquest that he was despondent because he had health issues. And he was like, fuck it. I'm out.
Yeah. I'll take my life before somebody else takes it. Yeah.
1908, Roy Gormley of Detroit ended his life after a week-long drinking spree, which I'm like, a week-long drinking spree is fucking insane.
Yeah,
even for a lush.
Benders.
That's goddamn. He was 38. He was a grain broker from Detroit at the Auditorium Annex, and Gormley shot himself in the left breast. Again, another chest shooter.
Another chest one. That's a lot.
After a week-long debauch, which is what the paper called it, a period of excessive drink and indulgence, the hotel...
Debauchery. They called it
debauch. Hotel employees heard the shot and found him on the floor. It was reported that he had recently separated from his wife.
I'm laughing because what if you say like, oh, he had the debauch?
I'm gonna start.
He's dead because he had the debauch.
I'm gonna use that going forward.
You should.
He separated his wife from his wife due to the infatuation with another woman. Shortly after his death, a woman from Detroit called the hotel inquiring about Gormley, and she reacted with shock when she heard of his suicide. So this woman is believed to be the woman who caused his marital problems. Mm-hmm. But the hotel staff noted his heavy drinking during his stay. He displayed eccentric behavior, such as insisting that the orchestra play Dead March from Saul, which I don't know what the fuck that is, the night before his death. Remarking, we're going to play that. Hold on. Let me find it.
Once again, though, it's always sex or money.
It is.
I tell you, like, all true crime, once I say this now, you're going to realize this. Everything is based on whether it's a triangle of lovers or somebody that's left you or something that's happened or you just owe money, or you're killing somebody for money.
Absolutely.
So it's always sex or money. Those are the two fucking motives for all deaths.
I agree.
Deaths and or suicides, but
he wanted to hear this.
This is the song?
Dead March from Saul.
What does that mean, though? What's it from? What does it mean? Like, what is it?
It's Handel. Is that how you pronounce Handel?
Yeah, Handel. Like Hans.
Oh, he was ready to go because this is about to be sad as fuck.
Oh, this is like a death march. Is it called Death March?
It's called Death March from Saul. The night before his death, remarking, "It will be too late then," when he was told that the music wasn't available until the next night. He had spent all his money but had a check for $130, which is $4,719 now, a gold watch, cuff buttons, and a diamond stud found in his room. Oh, yeah. They should have known that motherfucker was going to kill himself. That's sad as hell.
Oh, my gosh.
John Hossack, grandson of an abolitionist. He was 28. He was from Illinois. He died after falling 8 stories from his room at the Auditorium Annex Hotel in Chicago. He had to come to Chicago with his mother, his sister, and Miss Ann McWilliams to consult physicians about a nervous disorder. A lot of people had nervous disorders.
The nerves.
Mm-hmm. Doctors recommended an outdoor life in the West, and so he was planning to leave for a ranch in Lincoln, Nebraska. But the police were investigating whether or not he jumped intentionally or fell accidentally, possibly due to dizziness. His legs and left arm were broken. He was employed at a bank in Odell and was a student of Lake Forest University, and his uncle, F.N. Hossack, is the bank cashier. But John McWilliams, he was the president. McWilliams believes Hossack did not commit suicide. He was suggesting that his nervous state might have caused him to jump due to a dream or a nightmare in a strange place. What is with these dreams? I'm telling you, this is lead poisoning. It's either lead or gas, like a gas leak, like carbon monoxide or some shit. Because doesn't that cause hallucinations?
I have no idea, but I would think that you would just, well, most people don't know that they smell gas.
True.
I just think that it's
just a lot of motherfuckers just waking up.
Pass out and like.
True. But it's just weird that a lot of motherfuckers are like delirious. Like why you shooting yourself in your sleep? I mean, and mind you, rough times too. A weird delusion of the times. Like it just seemed like you said, like, oh, he's got the nerves. Mm-hmm. He's got the nerves. Like, really? Like, you were diagnosed with that? Like, you should just move away? Yeah.
You should go to the West where it's chill.
Just go to Nebraska.
Chill. Like,
so
you
can
just go
vibe
chill
out
somewhere. As opposed to like, oh, this dude's like nuts.
Yeah, exactly. S.R. Hamill, he succumbed to pneumonia. He had been ill since, and this was in 1908. He had been ill the previous Sunday with a condition worsening despite medical attention. And his death came as a surprise to his colleagues. And he appeared healthy. His death was attributed to his intense work and shock from an attack by a Mrs. Beatrice Metcalf, who had shot him in the federal building. Motherfuckers were acting up back then. An autopsy ordered due to rumors of unnatural causes confirmed his death was due to a pneumonia with no gunshot wounds. But Hamill's physician stated that Hamill's failure to wear his overcoat while traveling between the Grand Pacific Hotel and the federal building, combined with being overheated and excited, made him susceptible.
So that's why he got sick.
He got pneumonia. The rumors surrounding his death stemmed from the incident with Mrs. Metcalf, who fired 3 shots at him during a trial. She believed she was demented due to a business grievance. Or Hamill believed that she was demented due to a business grievance, while Miss Metcalf claimed that he had wronged her personally. It sounds like they were fucking, causing her to leave her husband, and then he abandoned her.
They were fucking, and then she got the nerves.
Yep. The nerves.
The nerves.
That's what I'm gonna call it. Every time I fuck somebody, I'm not supposed to fuck.
And then
I don't know. I got the nerves.
What do they call it? The bendy?
What's the bendy?
Wait, when they say instead of a bender, like what was it with the earlier story when they were saying that he was
debauch?
Debauch. She got the nerves, and then she got the debauch.
The nerves, and then
she wanted the debauch.
A waiter named Peter Huster became insane in the lobby, claiming to be an evangelist whose mission was to save souls. He stood on a chair, exhorted guests to repent their sins and pray, and was arrested. He was taken to Harris Street Station. I'm telling you, there's something crazy about these people going crazy.
In the water.
Comedian Peter Daly collapsed mid-joke. He was at the Congress Plaza. He died from pneumonia. His death was attributed to the dedication to the work. He insisted on performing on the stage that night, even though he had a severe chill and a high fever, despite his worsening condition. He maintained his jovial spirit, and he even joked shortly before he died. He died of pneumonia. W.D. Cornish went to bed healthy, but never woke up. He was a prominent vice president of the Union Pacific, Southern Pacific System, was found dead in bed at the auditorium annex by his secretary. Although he had been in good spirits and attended the theater the previous evening, the cause of death was declared to be organic heart disease, with the coroner's inquest confirming. So that's probably the most reasonable death, is if he had a heart attack in his sleep. 1910, Peacock Alley became famous after a scandalous encounter. The story painted Peacock Alley as glamorous but scandal-prone, a place where social reputation could unravel. M. Costin was a man from Holland, and he was in Peacock Alley, the ornate corridor connecting the hotel to the auditorium building. And he invited a woman for a drink, and the encounter went way sideways because he was misled by a friend into believing that he could invite any unaccompanied woman to his room, or to Peacock Alley, to have a drink with him. And so when Costin attempted to invite the woman from this other man's party, that other man assaulted him. For some reason, it wasn't important. It was also important to mention that, and this was in the article, that this was playing in the Pompian Room, this song called "Anybody Here Seen Kelly?" That's a song. What? In 1910. Oh my God. What did they do before R&B?
Brittany, I think you should tell. I don't know if you've already explained this. Maybe I should not ask this, but. You should tell everybody what Peacock Alley is, though.
Oh, yeah, I mentioned it.
Did you already?
Yeah,
okay,
no. Peacock Alley.
Does everybody know what Peacock Alley is?
Yes, it's the ornate corridor that is underground in between Auditorium Building and Auditorium Annex. And it used to be used by patrons of the Auditorium Theater so they could avoid the cold.
Yeah, it's like an underground walkway.
It's closed this fuck. It's been closed. But when we went to go see
we thought we found it.
Yes, we went to go see the Nutcracker in probably 2014. I didn't know about it then, but it was interesting thinking about it after the fact, because I was like, I do remember being at the base of the Auditorium Theater to go to the bathroom.
We went downstairs.
Yep.
And it was downstairs, and we were sitting in the lobby, and there were two rooms. You go to the bathroom, men's are on this side, women's are on this side, but where we sat, there was like
this nook where these benches were.
It was like a sealed
like a room. It was like not a room, but it was kind of just like this weird seating area that I remember being perfectly square.
Yes.
And it was kind of like this seating area, and they wouldn't let us back upstairs because we were late to the Nutcracker. They wouldn't interrupt the production. Yeah. And so we had to wait down there because we were talking. They were like, oh, if you all want to talk, you should go downstairs. And after the fact, it made me think, like, I wonder if that's what that used to be. That used to be the entrance, and they sealed it off.
It seemed like that is the perfect...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, when we thought back on it, you're like, oh shit, that was like a sealed off walkway.
Yeah, because when you see old pictures
I'm waving my hand. Nobody can see me. And I'm waving my hand like it's like a roundish fucking corridor.
I mean, it's not. I don't remember it being like an archway, but
roundy square. Like, you know what I mean?
Because
like,
this is how I'm gonna show you how it used to look. This is how it used to look. It's like a hallway with plants and seating.
But
it was carpeted. No. I know what you mean, but it's a square, so that would make sense versus an arch, because most of the things over at the auditorium are kind of like arch, like a U, an upside down U. But I remember that little nook was a perfect square. And when I saw pictures of Peacock Alley, I was like, oh, that's a square too. So that probably was what that was, because everything in auditorium theater kind of arches. That's the whole point. It's got like that Gothic cathedral style. Even the lighting, like when you see the lights in the evening, they use those like kind of like Hollywood, those bulbs, and it's in an arch. But that area was square. And I'm 99% positive that was the entrance to Peacock Alley. 99.
We'll have to look further.
Yeah. I mean, I would honestly love to see a blueprint.
Cool.
Now,
a blueprint, or like see like where that is, as opposed to like where the actual alley would be.
Exactly. Now, not all stories were grim. I mean, a woman mistook a mirror for a hallway and walked straight into it. I mean, that was funny. In 1916,
lived.
Yeah, in 1916, a cricket living behind a radiator was in the paper. You know, because they just seem to put anything in the fucking paper. Now, in 1916, a police gunfight inside the Congress left 3 people shot. That same year, a guest was found dead after drinking poison. Was it a suicide? This seems to be very common. A mining engineer at the Congress Plaza died of cyanide of potassium. His wife also ingested the poison. She claimed that they took the poison by mistake, believing it was Epsom salt, which I still don't understand why you would be consuming Epsom salt. But
also, why would you also have cyanide in possession?
Oh, absolutely.
In possession
That's
of
a
yourself.
lot.
Darn it, I took the cyanide instead of the Epsom
Where is my
salt.
cyanide? Why do you have cyanide?
Well, yeah.
So she was like, after eating a salad, they feared, I don't even know what this is, Penicillin poisoning? No idea. I should have looked it up, but I didn't. Yeah. Penicillin poisoning. However, detectives are suspicious, and they know that the cyanide vial was found next to an empty glass on the floor. So they were like, we're confused, because was this a suicide pact? Were you all planning on killing yourselves together? Because how do you confuse a vial of cyanide with a box of Epsom salt?
Yeah. So Penicillin is basically, it's also known as just food poisoning.
Oh, okay. And
it's a condition caused by consuming contaminated food.
Oh, okay. So it's food poisoning.
Salmonella and other things of that nature. So it's just food poisoning.
Now, in 1917, Peacock Alley made the front page again when a robbery turned out to be staged with nothing but a fountain pen again.
What is fountain pen situation?
I don't know. I mean,
the pen is
mightier than the
sword.
So Joe Reynolds was found. He was lolling on one of the divas in Peacock Alley. He was wearing a cannon. That's what they said. He was wearing a stolen diamond ring and a watch, which he had taken from Adolf Beck in a stick-up with a cannon. Put her up on Congress Street in Wabash. And Reynolds, however, claimed he did not use firearms, and that what Beck thought was a revolver was actually just a fountain pen. Because I confuse guns with fountain pens every day.
Let alone a cannon.
Exactly. He stated he took the valuables to protect Beck from the robbers, assuring it was done in a gentlemanly fashion.
You should rob people like in a nice way, by the way. Nice.
In 1921, Mrs. Orthwain shot Ziegler in the back and allegedly gloated while he died. Mrs. Orthwain shot him. She was gloating when she did it. She was hysterically profane, according to the paper. Medical evidence from the coroner's physician, Joseph Springer, corroborated that Ziegler was shot in the back, and Mrs. Orthwain claimed self-defense, stating that Ziegler had broken down her door after she told him she was through with him. And she was like, I'm about to shoot you dead. She also claimed he had lied to her about being with another woman. And she repeatedly asked if he was dead and attempted to kill herself after the shooting. These people were fucking insane.
It's love. It's fucking.
It's just delirium.
Money,
so Ziegler was the Chicago manager of the motor tire company and had been Mrs. Orthain's sweetheart for 5 years. So you've been fucking with this bitch for 5 years. That's crazy. Ziegler was living at the Congress Hotel with his wife, planning a divorce, and that he kept the room at the hotel because investigators were watching him for the wife's divorce. Now, that same year, a drunken broker slashed his wife's throat with a razor in his Congress suite during an argument over money and his drinking in their room at the Congress Hotel. Mrs. Ross sustained severe injuries of her windpipe and jugular vein and was rushed to St. Luke's Hospital, where her recovery was doubtful. So Ross claimed his wife threatened him with a razor first, which she probably didn't. She stated they had been arguing over his drinking and money, and he suspected her conduct. He had been on a moonshine spree.
Okay. Debauch
For over a week. Damn, these week-long benders are crazy.
I'll tell you what.
I could do a weekend at the most.
My mom would tell me about my grandfather, and she said that that's what they would do.
Yeah.
And that was in the fucking 40s, 50s.
And I'm going to tell you, too, this was 1920s, but I'm going to tell you that the shit that they were drinking had so many fucking chemicals in it. That could also be why a lot of these people were losing their fucking mind. Yeah. It was not properly processed. Nothing was properly bottled. Strong as shit. But to be drunk off that shit for a week, I'm drunk off these, like, fucking gin and tonics.
Gin and tonics. But like you said, though, the fucking moonshine.
Yeah.
That fucking tub shit that they fucking make nowadays. I'm sure. I don't
want no parts.
You, I've never had it. Only heard stories. But gasolina.
Yeah.
Like, just
it burns all the way through. Yep. I don't want no parts.
I guess it burns your fucking soul, burns your fucking memories, I guess. Like,
yeah, I guess if you are filled with sorrow and you want to...
ready to go.
Yeah.
Ready to melt it away.
Now, by 1928, the deaths returned. G.H. Palin, who was the speedy writer of slogans, dropped dead suddenly in his hotel room. He coined the phrase safety first. When I originally researched this, I was 90% sure that he died in Peacock Alley, and that was the reason why it closed. But I may have read that on a blog. And when I found the article, they said he died in his room. And I was like, did I jump a fucking timeline? Because I was sure he died in Peacock Alley.
Oh, wow.
Now, 1939. Now, this is a big one. The Langer family, Czechoslovakian refugees fleeing the Nazis, leapt to their death from the Congress. Adele Langer, Carl Tommy, and Jan Misha. He was 6. She was 4.5. The mom threw them from the 13th floor. In 1939.
Is this the story where you had told me, like, she lost her husband or something?
Yes, the funeral. Yes, Karl Langer was a textile mill owner from Czechoslovakia, and it is believed she was severely depressed. And she spoke about suicide and killing the children at the inquest because he was supposed to be coming to meet them.
Yeah, you told me.
And it was taking him too long to get there, and she thought that he was dead. So now in 1946, a fire went through this motherfucker, killing one guest and forcing 2,000 people to evacuate. Fire marshals suspected arson, and one guest, 32, died from smoke inhalation, and several others were injured. The fires, which caused an estimated $50,000 in damages and put 120 rooms out of use, 4 fires broke out, with the third fire at 6:30 a.m. resulting in death on the 5th floor. Back to the 5th floor.
4 and 5, man. It's like
They're hot. Now,
Literally.
firemen were unable to determine the cause of the fires, and the rapid spread of the one fire led to the suspicions that a flammable liquid had been used. So he said, the fire marshal Mullaney stated that 2 fires could be a coincidence, but not 3 or 4. In 1950, a guest shot and killed the hotel's credit manager before turning the gun on himself. So a murder-suicide under the same roof. William Sang was 41. He was a credit manager of Congress Plaza. He was fatally shot by a guest. The guest was 25 years old. This was by 1950s. So I can keep going and going, but so many crimes, so little time.
Yeah, so much has happened here. Like, if you were to think of like the fucking Hilton Garden down from me in fucking River North, you would never think like, oh man,
maybe you got an OD.
So many.
Maybe. I mean, if you think of the Langham, like, are the Langham getting a bunch of fucking suicides and people just dying or shooting themselves?
Hear about, like, oh, there was a death at the Langham today.
Yeah.
No, nobody You don't hear about that shit.
No. Now, I stopped in 1950, but you get the gist. The air would be thick in this hotel. Now, is the place haunted? Who really knows? But a lot has happened here to make it possible if it is. And that's my whole point. It's like, why the Congress is the hotel even faking it? Because are these just disturbances that something the hotel staff engage in to kind of like maintain the allure of the hotel? I mean, who knows? But with over 800 rooms, hidden hallways, ballrooms, and abandoned spaces, it's a labyrinth. We've walked through just a couple of floors on the south wing, and empty wings are also scary. Yep. Sealed off areas create a perfect breeding ground for ghost stories. Older hotels with modern renovations, kind of like what they've done in this room, often feel less spooky, but the Congress has whole sections that are apparently frozen in time. Now, Chicago itself has an unusually heavy history: wars and battles, fires, gang wars, prohibition, political scandal, etc. But the Congress sat right on Michigan Avenue through all of it, and guests brought their own energy, and this place absorbed more than most. So once a hotel gets branded the most haunted hotel in Chicago, guests arrive kind of primed for it. The reports of shadow figures, doors open, and elevators stopping at the wrong floor. Once you hear those stories, every odd noise feels like confirmation. And in the Congress's case, the mix of real history and folklore, Pig Leg Johnny's ass, makes it hard to separate fact from imagination. So unlike hotels where the ghost stories are mostly invented, here they overlap with real events, i.e. a real refugee family like the Longers who leapt to their deaths, mirrors the story of the phantom mother and then the children on the 12th floor. And a real fire in 1946 becomes the phantom smoke that people see. So the Congress is more haunted than others, not because possibly ghosts chose it, but because simple math: size, age, tragedy, history, and reputation. Stack enough deaths and scandals under one roof, and the walls will whisper. Once people believe the stories feed themselves, and visitors and employees leave this place, but the Congress never forgets. So is the Congress Plaza haunted? I can't prove a ghost.
I mean,
I can prove a century of sorrow.
You can definitely look at the history and know that there is sadness here. I mean, I'm sure that's residual.
Absolutely.
You can feel sadness at a place. You can feel sadness somewhere else, but we also talked about this before. Like, you bring your own poltergeist. You bring your own things
Oh, when I talked about paranormal activity, and I said that the places are haunted, the people
are haunted. To where if you come into a place that you feel like that already, and you're already haunting yourself, essentially bad shit's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
You're gonna bring it on yourself. If I'm happy with myself and I'm good here and I'm like fucking just, hey, like we're gonna, be here for I don't know how much longer. Who knows if we're gonna
probably gonna fall asleep. I ain't gonna lie.
Who knows? But however long we're gonna be here, if I was sad, suicidal, broke, all that bullshit, and then I was in an environment where I had heard that things were horrible, or other horrible things have happened, I may or may not actually fall into that.
Absolutely. Yep.
And also the delusions.
Yeah.
Or it could have been a chemical. It could have been chemical the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that and regardless, these people did die here. So specifically the people in, not too long after the building was built. But
I just mean the people that were experiencing things, or maybe may or may not have been
like beacons.
A beacon, but they or may not have been experiencing the chemical shit to where like they were actually hallucinating and they thought that things were happening as a haunting, and it really wasn't.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing too. It's kind of like, I mean, it's quiet right now, but when you hear about some of these stories, it happens at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and people are woken up out of their sleep and shit, or people feel like something is next to them or whatever. And I just also feel like there are stories of people who didn't know anything about this hotel.
And
they just stayed
stuff.
and they still experience shit. And then there are the people who did know, like we know, and we were like, oh, we'll stay at night, see what happened type shit. And then there are the people who didn't know and just went home. They didn't experience a thing.
Maybe it just depends on your openness or your experience. Who knows if those people that experienced something here in Congress had not experienced something somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure.
In their lives, just in their lives, in general. Maybe they were already an open soul, and they were already open to experiencing things. We've talked about this before. To where when they came here, they weren't expecting to feel anything here, but they were already open.
Yeah, for sure.
Because there are some people, like you say, they come and go. They don't have they don't fucking care about ghosts and spirituality and other realms and other sides of the whatever we always talk about. They don't really fucking care about that shit.
No,
so they're just like gone.
I mean, we can tell just from the vibe of like being downstairs, like people just in the hotel. Like it's not. It doesn't feel, I mean, now don't get me wrong, you get your ghost tours and shit like that. They do the Halloween ball, things like that. But you don't really get, other than the hotel being weird. If anything, this place is just fucking weird.
It's weird. It's decrepit.
Yeah.
It's just not maintained.
So I can't prove that there's a ghost. I can prove a century of sorrow. But it's like, maybe that's enough. Right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, depending on the person who's kind of occupying the space, they may be more likely to attract a particular type of energy.
We'll see when we go to the 4th floor.
The 4th floor seems to be litty for some reason.
Might have to.
Yeah, we gotta check that out.
At least try it out and go down there.
Yeah. For sure. Because, I mean, and right now, none of these people ever actually make the distinction of whether or not they're in the South or North Towers, though. That's the thing. Like, I know, obviously the South Tower is just as old. I mean, you can fucking tell. But nobody ever says like, oh, we stayed in the North Tower. And I think what's also incredibly intriguing is that They make it seem like the North Tower isn't really all that occupied. Like, does anyone stay in a North Tower?
I was gonna say, so when you, anytime anybody ever makes a reservation, it's usually south.
I don't know that to be true, but I know
that's...
based on like, even when I was researching this, they were saying that like today, most of the South Tower is what's used. And I'm like, so wait, let me get this straight. You got a whole other side of the building that you're not using? I mean, are they in disrepair? Are they sealed?
Yeah, or they just don't want to use them. You know,
or you're just like, fuck it.
You only renovated one side? I mean,
yeah, or is it just to a point where it's like it's too expensive to maintain 800 rooms, so you're like, fuck it, we're going to chop it into 4. I mean, we'll deal with the North Tower when we deal with it. I just find it very interesting that like it just doesn't seem like anybody ever makes the distinction like, oh, we were in the South Tower on the 12th floor. We were in the 4th tower on the, the 4th floor on the 9th tower.
Distinction of where they were at.
But in my research, it seems that the South Tower is where people are generally placed. So the most recent tower, because remember, the North Tower was the original structure. They added the South Tower. So this tower was the addition, and by new addition I mean fucking not Can You Stand the Rain,
not Belle
Biv DeVoe, but the new tower is this, which was like what, the like 1907 or some shit. Like it's still not that new. So
when you say 1907 is new,
exactly, nuts. It's not. So, but yeah, we're gonna traipse around this this hotel. I hope you all enjoyed the episode. I honestly, I don't know how to feel about it's mismatched. It's mixed matched is what it is, or mismatched. It's like
both.
Yeah, both.
It's mixed. Matched,
it's literally it's mismatched. It's like matched. Who, like, not even who designed it, because I know who designed it, but the fact that like they have not been able to maintain one consistent decorative theme in this bitch. And even the thing, it seems like they piecemeal restore. Like when it falls apart, they restore it. Like if something happens to your door, cool, you get a new door. That's what I think happened with that brown door. All them doors were white, and they probably had to kick in a door for some reason.
But then they put a brand new cherry fucking
door.
They
put a brand new cherry door up there and just decided not to paint it. And I don't even understand.
Stairwell.
The stairwell's
sealed off, but yet there's still a door.
Yeah. And it's like the one that was leaking, and then you can see where the paint is peeling. I'm like, y'all not even trying. Because
I wish I could show you guys pictures.
My thing is, if you got a fucking building that has areas like that, change that door so it don't have a window. Because I shouldn't have been able to peek through there and see how fucked up that area was. Which was crazy too, because it had a glass. You noticed that it was like an atrium type.
It was.
It was like a glass ceiling. Like a greenhouse or some shit, which I'm like...
If it wasn't raining, I would have opened that door and had you hold it open so I could go to the rooftop. But it was fucking literally dripping on me in this stairwell.
Yeah, and it's all camera, but it all looks like cameras from somebody's apartment. They were like, oh yeah, I got a Wise camera. Oh yeah, I got a...
From fucking Amazon.
This place.
Amazon fucking camera. Who knows if they're even turned on?
Who knows? I ain't see no lights. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed the episode. We back for Halloween. And boop. Okay. That's the spooky music.
That's also spooky.
I'm on TikTok and TikTok only, so you should go there. I have a TikTok page now. It's called I Swear to Drink Up My God. Just search for it. You're not gonna miss it. I've been actually doing recaps of all of my old episodes. It's been fun, actually. I wake up every morning and do a video. It's actually been fun.
Nice.
Just to kind of like remind people that it exists, because honestly, 3 years worth of episodes, I should probably tell people about them. Maybe, you know, why not? So anyway, we'll see you on the next one. Yeah.
Bye, y'all.
I'm tipsy. Bye.
Yeah, bye, y'all. Nice to see you. Hear you again.
Bye.